Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Boxing Time TV. We have a really good fight scheduled today. This one's not taking place till February 17th, 2017. Features George Groves versus Chris Eubank Jr. And this is one of those fights that in some ways seems like it's a pick'em fight. In some ways it seems like Eubank Jr. maybe has the advantage. Let's just look at them. They're pretty evenly matched. Groves is 29, Eubank is 28. They're the same height, 71 inches. I made him the same weight, same reach, 72 inches. And George Groves has 27 fights, 3 losses. He's been knocked out in 2 of those losses, both by Carl Froch. And then we see Chris Eubank, he has 1 loss, and that loss is to Billy Joe Saunders. All right, there's a 12-round fight, 3-minute rounds, 10-point must system, no mandatory 8 count, 3 knockdown rule waived. Let's just get right to it. I think the big question mark here is going to be how George Groves responds when Chris Eubank Jr. lands on him. Chris Eubank Jr. had fights with a lot of his dad's poise and moxie. And that is something that is very, it's great, but it can also cost him, if he's not as focused as he needs to be. I don't know if I said this at the beginning of the telecast. My name is Evan Jacobs. You can find me on Instagram. Boxing Time with Evan is my handle. And I just thank you all for watching this podcast. We do have George Groves on the left side of the screen taking on Chris Eubank Jr. And both guys right now kind of feeling each other out. Eubank going to the body well there. Groves kind of jabbing, kind of establishing distance and seeing what he can do against Chris Eubank Jr. And Chris Eubank Jr., I think, can end this fight at any point with 1 punch. I'm sorry, I do think highly of George Groves. I think, hey, he had 2 losses to Carl Froch, and he came back and won a title and beat some really good fighters. But at the same time, it's the kind of thing that well, and then he had a draw with Badu Jack. It's kind of been spotty. I'm actually gonna bring this up and take a look at George Groves. And so we have George Groves. All right, it says George Groves, and looking at him, and these 2 guys are they both hit hard, so it's fairly apparent. See, George Groves strikes me as a kind of guy that can come out and look very, very impressive, but as the fight goes on, the longer it goes on, he tends to wilt. I may be wrong about that, and there's a very good chance that George Groves is going to prove me wrong in this fight. Although right now Chris Eubank seems to be walking him down a bit. Groves kind of looking to land some shots. So yeah, George Groves, after he lost to Badu Jack, he put together a string of, as I see it here, 6 straight victories. He beat Martin Murray, he beat Jamie Cox, Fedor Chudinov. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this fight. Is he able to figure out Eubank Jr.? Is he able to maybe control sort of the wild, kind of wacky style that Eubank Jr. seems to employ? Or is this going to be another performance where Chris Eubank Jr. just beats him? Well, that's the end of the first round. I think that it was fairly even. I want to see what the judges say. They're giving it to George Groves. Yeah, Eubank Jr. not as busy as I thought that he would be going into this, the second round. George Groves on the left side of the screen, Eubank Jr. on the right. Oh, and look at that, Chris Eubank landing with the left hand, stuffing it in his face. This is one of those fights. In some ways, it's a pick'em, and then like I said, in some ways, I can see Eubank Jr. exploding on him. It's a question of, is Eubank Jr. maybe not throwing as many punches right now, letting George Groves kind of let himself get a little bit exhausted, maybe a little bit ahead, and then Eubank Jr. is slowly breaking him down. He seems to be going to the body. That seems to sort of be his plan, and it's a very smart plan if he's planning on taking Groves into the later portions of the fight, because Groves, wilted against Carl Froch. He wilted, and then he got knocked out. I mean, it was a pretty stunning knockout. I'm going to pop out for just a second. I'm going to run and grab my water. Got to put on my slippers. As you guys can hear me do that, and my gals. The work, I don't know if you watched the show last week, the work in the house is done, and just kind of putting everything back and getting cable figured out and all this stuff, and it's been a whole mess, but we'll talk about it. Oh wow, okay, so what did I miss? So I sometimes just have to pop out from time to time, and got these new floors and kind of wearing slippers on them and just keeping myself organized. Oh wow, look at Chris Eubank Jr. tagging George Groves, tuning him up, and George Groves right now. In many, it's almost like Chris Eubank Jr. maybe had a feeling out round in that first round. Let Groves kind of get ahead, because it looks like Eubank Jr. might be kind of coming on now. Maybe he figured things out. He's mixing the body shots with the head shots very well. And George Groves, very good fighter, strong fighter. And as I'm sure Carl Frock will attest. I mean, I think that Eubank Jr. would be tough for anybody, and I think him versus Carl Frock. I mean, that fight's not going to happen because Frock retired, which I think was really smart on Frock's part. He really just Groves was an opponent. Groves was supposed to kind of beat him. It was sort of like a coming out party for Groves, because many people thought that Groves had Frock's number after the first fight, even though Frock stopped him. There was questions about the stoppage, and then lo and behold, Carl Frock negated George Groves and knocked him out. 2 rounds in the books of this bout between George Groves. It's a simulated bout between George Groves and Chris Eubank Jr. And just like I was saying, Eubank got out on 2 of the judges' scorecards, and one of them has it even. Once again, you are watching Boxing Time TV. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you could share these videos, tell people about them. Direct message me on Instagram or on YouTube where you're watching this, and just say, hey, these are the fights that I want to see, because I would love to make them. I want to fill this thing with content. I try to do one of these a week minimum. I'd love to do 2, but one seems to kind of be the order of the day. And these two sort of standing in the center of the ring, and it seems to me that Grove's sort of having a lot of success with that jab. When he does that, it sort of stops Eubank's movement and kind of befuddles him a little bit. A little cute little left hand landed by George Groves on the chin of Chris Eubank Jr. But Eubank Jr.'s punches just sound and feel so much harder. And this is like I said, it's a simulation, but so my simulations have been coming correct. Where we have the Cotto fight from last night, and what happened in the Cotto fight. I mean, I don't want to give too much away because I want you to watch it on Boxing Time TV on YouTube. But Saddam Ali beat him. Oh, look at that! Oh, look at that! Chris Eubank Jr. stringing the shots together, and fighting from a distance, coming inside, and George Groves he needs to find some answers. He's up by 1 point after 2 rounds, but he's gonna have to do something to stop sort of Chris Eubank Jr. from feeling like he can beat him. Oh, look at these guys. Both looking for openings, and there's Eubank going to the body again. I really think that is what's affecting George Groves the most. Sure, Eubank Jr.'s landing shots on him, but those body shots are just slowing down his movement, and it's going to be a thing that as this fight goes on, it's going to be harder and harder for George Groves to get away from the body shots. So it's a very, very, very interesting uh, fight. And it's one that I think that Eubank Jr. slowly kind of just taking over. Oh wow. Look at this. Look at this. Eubank. I think Eubank Jr. clearly won this round. I think Groves had his moment, but I think that Eubank Jr. clearly won it. And the judges seem to agree with me as we go into the fourth round now. George Groves behind by 2 points. Oh! Oh! Oh, look at that. Eubank Jr. runs out and stuffs him with a left hand. And wow, that really hurt George Groves. Eubank Jr. slowly starting to come on, but he's got to be careful because George Groves does have power in both hands. Very, very proud fighter, and he does not want to lose. Oh wow, look at Eubank Jr. landing the uppercut. And these two guys are very much, you know, fighting in a way that you know, their styles each one trying to sort of impose their style on the other. Although, you know, Eubank, I don't know that George Groves wants to be coming towards Eubank Jr. like this, but maybe he feels that he's been maybe too respectful, hasn't applied enough pressure. Oh, jabbing. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Chris Eubank Jr. Now moving him across the ring, moving him back, and man, that was a hard left hand, and he followed up. But I give George Groves credit. Good defense, good lateral movement, good head movement. Once again, you're watching Boxing Time TV. My name is Evan Jacobs. I want to thank everyone out there for watching this and listening to this podcast. I want to fill this thing with content. I want to try to, you know, build it out and make it, you know, as big as I possibly can. So we're in the final minute of this round, and Chris Eubank Jr. started off really well, and he's doing okay, but he seems to have sort of let George Grove off the hook here, but he keeps going to the body, and that's got to be bothering Groves, and Groves is looking for something. He's looking to land something, and the thing is, his punches must have power, because they are stopping Eubank Jr. dead in his tracks. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at this. These two fighters. Groves on the left side of the screen, Eubank Jr., Chris Eubank Jr., George Groves on the left side of the screen, Chris Eubank Jr. on the right side of the screen. And so George Groves survives this round and does okay. Let's see what the judges say. I'm sure they're probably going to give it to Chris Eubank Jr., but you never know. Oh, one judge giving it to Groves, one judge giving it to Eubank, another judge giving it to Eubank. So now Eubank is ahead by 3 points as we go into the fifth round, and Eubank Jr. starting off with that left hand. He's had good success with it. Why ruin a good thing? Oh, he lands that. He lands that punch on him, and it wobbles George Groves, and man, George Groves showing a much better chin than probably a lot of people give him credit for. But Chris Eubank Jr. really starting to work in there, utilizing the ring, utilizing all parts of the ring. He's just, one thing he isn't doing is maybe letting his hands go more, because if he did, it seems like he could possibly stop George Groves. But Groves fighting from a distance and drawing Eubank out, and you know, George Groves in no way is totally behind in this fight. Now he goes to the body, and maybe this has been the plan, is to sort of draw Eubank Jr. out a little bit and then counter him. This This is certainly one of those fights where anything is possible from both combatants. Oh, Eubank Jr. going to the body now. He goes up top, starting to just let the punches go, and George Groves trying to fight off the ropes. And Eubank Jr. It's very interesting how he doesn't throw as many punches as you think that he would, could, or should. Maybe he's economical, doesn't want to waste them, but it seems like it might make his fights a little bit easier. But maybe he has stamina concerns. Who knows? Oh! Hard right hand. Oh, and George Groves is really in trouble. He's taking a pounding, but he stays up. George Groves stays up amidst everything that Chris Eubank Jr. just laid on him. What does that do to Eubank Jr.? He wobbles him and he hurts him, and George Groves stays in front of him, shows good defense, and continues to kind of press him. And wow, what an impressive display by both fighters. Chris Eubank Jr., I think, winning the round merely on that, and George Groves going to the body. Oh, landing a right hand. Oh, landing a left hand. And Eubank Jr. going to the body. We're going to see what the judges say. Wow, big round for Chris Eubank Jr. See what they say. Oh, they're saying Chris Eubank Jr. has a bruised rib. George Groves has hurt Eubank Jr.'s rib. Is this something that George Groves can use to his advantage? And he's now behind by 6 points, but if he can go to the body enough, if he can draw out Chris Eubank, he can possibly, maybe that's why Eubank isn't throwing the punches and volumes the way that we think he should, is perhaps he's just not. Oh, wow. Eubank jabbing, but he's trying to be smart, and George Groves trying to be coy, landing upstairs. If I'm him, I go to the body. I crack that rib, I beat him on the hip, and I do something to kind of break that rib more, because George Groves, like I said, not being blown out. He's behind by 6 points now, but he does have the, he has that broken rib, or he has that Eubank has a bruised rib. There's a big there's a lot of potential here for George Groves to sneak away with this fight if he can land in a way on Eubank that is going to give him advantages. And right now he's showing really good defense. And I mean, what does this do to Eubank Jr.? He has him wobbled, and he's hurt, and he hits him with everything. And George Groves, who many people, myself included, don't think he has the greatest chin, stands up to it and then hurts his rib. So we're gonna have to see what happens as we move into the final minute of this, the 6th round. And George Groves on the left side of the screen, Chris Eubank Jr. on the right. My name is Evan Jacobs, and you are watching Boxing Time TV. Ooh, 2 body shots. Chris Eubank does not want him doing him that much. And as you can see, it kind of got Eubank off of him there. And George Groves is showing a lot of durability in this fight. And it remains to be seen. Is he going to wilt, or is he making Chris Eubank Jr. wilt? We'll have to see. And this is a very, very interesting, hotly contested bout. We're at the halfway point here, and it looks like George Groves doing very good work off the ropes. This seems to be where he wants to be fighting in. And he's showing, and he's has his high defense. He's covering up well. So we're going to see as we head into the final 20 seconds, does George Groves do some things to possibly get even more inside the head of Chris Eubank Jr.? Because right now Eubank Jr., Maybe the judges are going to give him this round, although I don't know. George Groves certainly live in this bout. We're at the halfway point, 6 to go. Oh no! Chris Eubank Jr. has a broken ribs. They're giving that round to George Groves. He's working his way back into the bout. Can George Groves, who's behind by 3 points, pull this off? This is a 6-round fight, and Chris Eubank, it's almost like he just has to outlast Eubank Jr. Eubank Jr., but the thing is, having that rib injury, as we saw when Matthew Hilton lost to Bam Bam Hines back in, like, I think it was 88, it's the kind of thing that you know, it hurts the way that you throw punches. And George Groves is fighting a very technical, a very tactical fight. And, you know, he may know that his rib's broken. He may sense that, and he may sense that the ref's going to stop it. That's the one thing about this game. If they stop it, there's no go into the judges' scorecards. It's, you know, nothing technical about it. George Groves will get the victory. And, wow, this is a really, really interesting bout that we have here, as George Groves, you know, seems like he could maybe go with one really hard punch or one really hard volley of punches, is standing up to Chris Eubank Jr., is fighting back against Chris Eubank Jr., and he's showing a lot of grit and durability. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe he learned so much from those fights with Carl Falk, although he probably doesn't want to be going into the ropes now. It's one of those things that Chris Eubank is letting his hands go. Maybe he feels a certain bit of desperation. But the problem is that there's always the counter punches of George Groves, and those could be enough to turn the tide and really make this George Groves fight. And he narrowed it down in that 6th round. He fought really well. Great counter punching. Oh, looked like he was hurt for a second, and now he's forcing Chris Eubank to fight him. And he's fighting with high guard, and wow, what just a great fight. That's what I love about Boxing Time TV. That's why I like doing this. Theater of the unexpected still. This game, Sierra Championship Boxing, the most realistic boxing game I think ever made, because at no point, you know, a lot of games, like I always say, there's always like the big power punch. You hurt the guy, and then bam, you land the power punch. This game doesn't have that. It's just strategy and which fighter's doing the things that they need to do in order to be effective and win their fight. We're coming up upon the final 30 seconds. Oh wow, George Groves wobbled hard as Chris Eubank Jr. attempts to not do the impossible, but to stem the, you know, he looked like he was pulling ahead, and then George Groves kind of took it from him. Groves now against ropes, just letting Eubank throw a lot of punches. And Groves goes to the body. He touches Eubank Jr. to the body and hurts him. Oh, but Groves gets hurt now. What a tremendous fight. We come down to the final 10 seconds. George Groves, after taking all that from Chris Eubank Jr., wobbles him with a shot to the body. It seems like at any point, one hard shot either to the body from Groves or to the head from Eubank, and this bout could be over. Wow. They're saying that both fighters are tired. They're saying that Eubank has a broken rib. Wow. They give that round to Chris Eubank Jr. 8-8-8. Oh, I'm sorry, 10-10-10 over 8-8-8. So they only gave George Groves 8 points each for that round. And so the bout is Eubank Jr.'s ahead by 9 points. Oh, he lands an uppercut, catches Eubank Jr. coming in. Wow, Eubank Jr. really showing a lot of vulnerability here, as we are in the eighth round of a fight in which it looks like he should be winning, but now you have George Groves landing, and it seems like he's coming back. It seems like he's doing the things that he needs to do. This is very, very, very intriguing. Oh, wow! George Groves landing a left hand and dropping Chris Eubank Jr. Oh, no. Oh, it doesn't look like Eubank Jr. is going to be getting up. Chris Eubank Jr., oh my gosh. George Groves holds on, is crafty, and stops Chris Eubank Jr. What a great fight. Wow, what a great fight. It looked like for all the world Chris Eubank Jr. was coming on. It looked like it was out of George Groves' hand, but Groves got crafty. He broke the rib of Chris Eubank Jr. and then stopped him in 8 rounds. The winner is George Groves by a knockout. The fight lasted 8 rounds. The Groves was not knocked down. Eubank Jr. was knocked down one time and has a broken rib. And I'm telling you, the way that I built these fighters in the game, Groves did not have as good of a chin as Eubank Jr., but George Groves pulls it off, lands the punches that he needs to land, draws them out, and scores the knockout. Thank you so much for watching Boxing Time TV. My name is Evan Jacobs. Follow me on Instagram. Boxing Time with Evan is my handle on there. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this, and we'll see you at the fights. Please let me know fights that you want to see me make. Direct message me on Instagram, or hit me up on YouTube in the comments or wherever and just let me know.